Today we're going to be working on using algebra grouping symbols. We're going to be using parentheses, brackets, and braces to evaluate numerical expressions. So let's see what those parentheses, brackets, and braces look like. We are already familiar with using parentheses. We've been using parentheses to solve math, numerical equations, and expressions for quite some time. What we are adding to what we've been using are the brackets and the braces. We're going to be using the parentheses and the brackets to group operations that go together. And we're going to remember that when we're now adding the brackets and braces to the parentheses, we're going to perform the parentheses and bracket operations first. So now let's add to what we've done in a previous lesson. We are working with the order of operations still within this lesson, but we're just doing them a little differently. When we are working with parentheses, brackets, and braces, we need to now look at that being as our first step. When we were working with orders of operations with just parentheses, we did that first, then we multiplied and divided from left to right, and finally we added and subtracted. Now we need to take care of everything in parentheses, brackets, and braces first. When those symbols are located within a problem, then we go to multiply, divide from left to right, and add and subtract from left to right. Let's go ahead and practice using a word problem to see what this will look like. Sarah gets $6 for her weekly allowance and spends $4 of it. Her brother Jonathan gets $7 for his weekly allowance and spends $3 of it. Their mother's birthday is in 4 weeks. If they spend the same amount each week, how much money can they save together in that time to buy her a present? So we're going to go and note important information within this problem. First, we see that Sarah gets $6 for her weekly allowance. She spends $4 of it. So when we're spending, we are taking away from what we already have, so we subtract. We can see that her brother Jonathan gets $7 for his weekly allowance, and he spends $3 of it. So we are going to show that he has $7 and he spends $3 of it because he's also taking away from the total amount that he started with. Their mother's birthday is in 4 weeks. So if they spend the same amount each week, how much money can they save together in that time to buy her a present? So we are trying to ultimately solve for this part of the problem. This is our question: how much money can they save together in that time to buy her a present? And our directions ask us to write a numerical expression that represents how much money they will save. Let's work on grouping this information together so that we can solve. So here's the information that we know. We know that Sarah gets $6 and spends $4. Her brother Jonathan gets $7. He spends $3. Their mother's birthday is in 4 weeks. And if they spend the same amount of money each week, and this is for the 4 weeks, how much money can they save in that time to buy her a present? So when I'm thinking about putting the information from the word problem into a numerical expression, I'm going to go ahead and just start with Sarah. So I know that Sarah has $6 and she spends $4. So I'm going to have that. And I am going to go ahead and look at her brother Jonathan, who has $7 and he spends $3. Okay? $7 and spends $3. I need to group these items together, and I'm going to use parentheses in order to group them together. I know that both of these things are going to occur within my problem, so I need to add. I need to show that Sarah, who has $6 and spends $4, and Jonathan, who has $7 and spends $4, we need to group those terms together. Now, I need to take care of this part of the problem where the mother's birthday is in 4 weeks. And they are going to spend the same amount each week. So how much money are they going to actually be able to save? That would be the money that they're not spending. So I need to take all of that information and put it together. So this is going to be happening over a course of 4 weeks. They're going to do the same amount. They're going to get $6, spend 4, get $7, and spend 3. I'm going to use the brackets in order to show that all of this happens before I'm going to multiply it by the 4 weeks. Now that I have my problem written, my numerical expression, now I need to solve. I need to go ahead and work this out. So I need to start with my order of operations. So do I see parentheses, brackets, or braces? And I know that I do, so I start with the parentheses first. So I see 6 minus 4, so I need to solve for that. That's going to give me $2 plus 7 minus 3, that's going to give me $4. So those are the two things that are in parentheses. Now notice that I need to keep my brackets. I am not losing any of the brackets. I need to keep my brackets as well as my multiplication symbol and my 4. And I'm going to continue in this manner and solve downwards. I'm not going to add any equal signs. I'm just going to continue solving this way. I am going to go back to my order of operations. So I now have 4 times 2 plus 4, but the 2 plus 4 is in brackets. So that, do I see brackets? I do. I need to solve that part of the problem next. So $2 plus $4 is going to give me $6. Then I need to keep my multiplication symbol and my $6. Now I am going to go back and look at my order of operations again, and there are no parentheses, brackets, or braces to deal with anymore because we didn't have the braces at all. Now I can go here and see, is there any multiplication and division from left to right, and I can see that there is multiplication. So that would be the last step that I need to do. Would take care of the 4 times 6, and that's going to give me $24. And so when I'm answering how much money can they save in that time, in the 4-week time span, they will be able to save $24. And I will show that by saying Sarah and Jonathan will save $24 for their mother's birthday present. That's the question that we needed to answer. Let's get a little more practice in. Let's look at example A. Here's an example that we're going to work through using our orders of operations. We see 4 times 5 minus 2 times 3 plus 2 plus 4 times 2. Seems like a lot of information, but if we follow our order of operations, we will be able to solve this rather easily. So first we need to start with parentheses, and we see the 5 minus 2 is in parentheses, and we also see the 2 plus 4. So that's where we need to direct our attention. 5 minus 2 is 3, and then 2 plus 4 is 6. That's the only thing that I need to do. I need to keep everything else in order for me to be able to successfully solve this. So I only got rid of the parentheses. So these are the pieces that we got rid of. We still have the braces and the bracket. Okay, here. I still have my times 3, this part here, which also is in a bracket. I still have my plus symbol. I still have my bracket. I still have my multiplication symbol in that bracket and the brace. And so now I start again and I go back to my order of operations. I start. I don't have any more parentheses, but I do have brackets. So I need to take care of the brackets next. So I'm going to say 3 times 3 is 9 plus 6 times, oh, I left off my 2. Stick my 2 in there. 6 times 2 is 12. So I do have that part of the problem that I need to solve for. So I've taken care of these brackets. I still have my multiplication symbol. I still have the brace, okay, and I still have this brace. Now, that's the next thing we're going to go to is the brace, and we're going to solve for that. So we look inside and we see 12 plus 9. That's what we're going to do. 9 plus 12, 21. So now I'm finished with this part of the brace, and now I have 4 times 12. And I go to my orders of operations, and I see that I need to multiply and divide from left to right. I don't see division, but there's definitely multiplication. So 4 times 21 is what I'm going to be solving for. And we've talked about how we could distribute this and solve, but if you need to take your work off to the side to show, you can do that. 1 times 4, then 2 times 4. And so we would have 84 for this part of the problem. Well, not this part of the problem. 84 would be our answer to example A. Now I'm going to let you practice in your journals. We need to practice the you try problems. We're going to bring them up here. These are the 2 problems that I would like for you to practice in your journal using the order of operations and using the symbols that we have talked about in this video. Complete your WISQ, WSQ, and make sure that you complete these 2 problems in your math journal. Let us know that you have watched the video on Edmodo, and be prepared for discussing and practicing more with grouping symbols in class. See you tomorrow. Almost forgot. It's a really good idea for you to copy down this chart right here in your math journal. So you're just adding to the information that you have extending from the order of operations chart. So please do add this chart in your math journal as well.